Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, today I want to take a look at a relationship reading, and we're going to dive into a significant connection in your life and what its purpose is. Why is it here in your life? Or if it's a relationship that's no longer in your life, what it was here to teach you. Generally, these readings are about romantic relationships, but today I am very open to whatever kind of relationship wants to come in. We're just going to take a look at the cards and the energies and see what's going on. So, as always, I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. For pile one, we have an amethyst. For pile two, we have a jade. And for pile number three, we have a blue sodalite crystal. So, as always, timestamps are in the video description. If you enjoy this reading and if it's helpful, if it resonates, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonated for you. Come say hello on Instagram or send me an email if you'd like a private reading. And without much further ado, I'll see you at your reading. Pile number one, hello, welcome. So today we're taking a look at a significant connection in your life, who this person is, why they are here, what they are going to teach you or what they have taught you, and some advice on this connection moving forward. Now, before we dive in, I really need you guys to settle down, settle your energy and ground yourself, please, because this has been chaotic and it has been riddled with false starts. So not only when I was shuffling your cards out, I felt like I had to put all the cards back and reshuffle the entire thing. It almost felt like imposter syndrome, like I would never be right the first time and then I had to do it a second time. But also when I was filming the intro for this video, I picked up your amethyst stone to show to the camera and it fell. And I was like, I'm just going to redo the entire intro. So you guys might be dealing with a connection that involves either false starts or a bit of anxiety, a bit of stress. So I just need you guys to just take a deep breath, chill for a moment, ground your energy, and then we'll get into it. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us who this person is and what role they play in your life. Now, this could be great for confirmation to see if this is a connection you want to ask about, or if you're not sure whom you're asking about, this is a great way to find out. These cards here will tell us what's going on in this relationship right now as things stand. These here will tell us what the lesson is that this person is here to teach you. And then finally, we'll take a look at some advice from this animal spirit card. So, are you grounded? Great, let's dive in. So to start off, who is this person to you? We have Temperance in reverse. And that's clarified by the Hanged Man also in reverse. Major Arcana, this is definitely a soul connection of some sort, but it feels more karmic than it does soulmatey or anything like this. For the archetype, we have the Dead End. Oh, isn't that crazy? Because when you reach a dead end, you have to turn around and double back. And that's felt kind of like the theme of this. So with Temperance and the Hanged Man both in reverse, this is kind of giving me the energy of someone who is completely out of balance, who is completely not stable or steady. And maybe that's the energy that's kind of rubbing off on you a little bit. But it kind of gives me the feeling of someone who's very wishy-washy, someone who doesn't really know what they want or who they are. And they're kind of projecting that out onto everyone around them. But it does feel like a significant connection in your life for both of these to be major arcanas. The Hanged Man, upright, is usually all about someone choosing to kind of change their perspective, see things from a different viewpoint. So to have that in reverse, clarifying the Temperance in reverse, which the Temperance is usually about a dynamic balance. It's about knowing that staying still won't bring you the balance you seek. You have to be in motion. So to have the Hanged Man in reverse, clarifying the Temperance in reverse, gives me the sense of someone who is very fixed, very stubborn, very decisive, in the sense of whatever they say is gospel, and they expect every single person around them to agree. And if you don't agree, you're the one in the wrong. And in many ways, maybe speaking to this person does feel like a dead end. It's like there's no moving forward with this. There's no finding a resolution or finding a way forward with this person. That's interesting. And because of like that imposter syndrome feeling I got when I was shuffling these out, because it's almost like when I was shuffling the cards out, some of them flipped over, and then I decided to like keep them while I was shuffling. And then I felt like, am I making these cards tell a story? Like, am I picking the cards in order to force a certain narrative? And then I was like, wait a minute, that's not what I do. And perhaps you're in this energy of maybe this person convinced you that you're the one choosing all the misery that comes with them. You're the one making all the difficult situations happen. Like, this feels like a very high conflict situation. So if that resonates, the dead end is card number 60. No, 40. Oh my goodness, I don't know. Okay, the dead end. Contrary to what its name implies, the dead end is very much alive. It is a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. You have reached the last page of this chapter. It is natural to resist its very resistance and struggle even harder to make our way, to prove our point, to hold on to what was. In this way, we fight with life itself. If you are honest and courageous enough to accept, adjust, and adapt, the dead end becomes known as life's beginning. Acceptance, humility, relief, reverence for change. So yeah, I definitely think this connection is at its end, or it's at the end of how it's been going this far. So if you're used to a certain rhythm in this relationship, that's about to change drastically. And it may lead to separation. It may lead to you never contacting this person again. Or it may lead to some dramatic change that completely throws off the dynamic that you have with this person currently. And to be completely honest with you, that would almost be a blessing, because the way things are going right now, it feels like this is just not the safest, most nourishing connection. So if that resonates for you, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in this relationship. To start, we have the Page of Swords in reverse. And that's clarified by the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, yeah. Okay, part one. Is this someone you have actually cut out of your life? Or like you're considering cutting out of your life, but you just haven't decided whether you want to yet? Because it very much feels like this is someone who, with the Page of Swords in reverse, this is not someone who will accept new information once they've made up their mind. That's just it. Like, they will not, even when life changes, even when circumstances change, this person refuses to look beyond what they consider to be their reality. So say now someone has a very toxic mindset around money, for instance, right? Say someone has a toxic mindset around money. No matter how much money you do give them, no matter how much money they earn or acquire, they will continue to have that toxic mindset. And then eventually the universe is like, well, this is not making you happy, I'll take it away. So it's that kind of person where they're like, they desperately believe that they are not worthy or capable of being happy. And so even when happiness does come knocking on their door, they straight up reject it because they are so comfortable with the misery that they've created around them. Well, I feel so judgmental judging this person, but I'm sorry, like, you don't deserve that treatment, so we're gonna spill some tea, okay? But for that to be clarified by the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Three of Pentacles is usually a card about collaboration. It's about someone who will work with you. So to have that in reverse definitely alludes to a very selfish mentality. Look, I'm not here to mince words with you, pal one. This is someone who enjoys their misery, and it is purely out of a sense of self-preservation because they believe that being unhappy will keep them safe. Perhaps because that's all they know, but there comes a time in our lives where we get to choose how we respond to certain situations in our lives. And this is the kind of person who will not adapt, will not grow beyond what they already know. They refuse to see a different perspective with this Hanged Man in reverse, and therefore any conversation with them will eventually lead to a dead end if what you're hoping for is change. There's no change to be had with this person. So if I am sorry if you came to this reading trying to figure out how to make this work. I mean, we may find out, if there's a way to make this work, but as things lie, unless they are willing to undergo radical transformation, it is simply going to be more of the same stuff. Next, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. Yeah. And that's clarified by the Six of Swords, also in reverse. All of your cards are in reverse, pile one. That's interesting because to me, a lot of reversals, especially like this many, like 6 out of 6, all in reverse. This many reversals usually tell me that it is time to step back. It's time to double back and, do something else because this is not working. The Ace of Cups usually talks about a new emotional beginning, a new love coming your way. And in existing connections, it usually talks about renewal of emotional connection, right? So that's in reverse. The Six of Swords upright talks about moving to a peaceful resolution. That's in reverse as well, and that's clarifying the Ace of Cups in reverse. Yeah, I honestly, it really doesn't feel like there is much renewal to be had in this connection. And right now, all there is left to do is to look at the lessons that this connection was here to teach you. That is a loud bike. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, all that's left to do is look at the lessons that this connection was here to teach you, because quite frankly, even if there is a renewal in this connection, it would only be a temporary fix. It'd be like trying to put a band-aid on a bullet wound. Like, it's not going to do the healing. It might temporarily fix the problem, but unless you go in there and dig all of that lead out, there is not going to be a change, and there is not going to be a transformation. So as things stand right now, what's going on in this relationship is business as usual. Nothing is going to change. And this person is not willing to go out of their way to see your perspective. They're not willing to go out of their way to try for you. And they are certainly not expecting things to change at all. And it almost feels like they've taken for granted the fact that you will always be in their life. Which kind of makes me think this might not only apply to romantic relationships. Like, this very much gives me the vibe of a long-term friend who has taken advantage of you, or a sibling, a parent, like a child, like that kind of thing. So with that understanding, let's now take a look at your lesson, because quite frankly, that's the best thing you're going to get for yourself from this situation moving forward, is to learn your lesson so you don't repeat it. First, we have the Six of Wands. Okay, beautiful. And that's clarified by the Emperor. Yes, absolutely yes. And look how, like, suddenly the cards are all upright. With the Six of Wands and the Emperor, the Six of Wands is all about victory. The Emperor is all about independence. Your next win comes from you seeking independence, you going solo, you doing your thing. You weren't put here to make someone else's life easy, to make someone else's life harmonious, and you were certainly not put here to deal with anyone else's nonsense. Part one, you have the ability, and I also want to say the connections, because this, I don't usually get this message from the Six of Wands, but it kind of almost feels like all these wands that are raised to her, it's like a celebration. It's like there are people out there who would genuinely celebrate your wins. They wouldn't bring you down to their level. And it feels like you're already surrounded by these people, but because of this one connection, it kind of creates a smokescreen in front of you that doesn't allow you to recognize all this support that is already around you. So it does feel like you have the skill, the talent, the ability, and the connections that would help you be a fantastic success in whatever endeavor you do without this person dragging you down. And the lesson here is very much about being a little more headstrong. It feels like you may have been quite passive in this connection. You may have simply live and let lived with this person. But at this point in your life, at this point of this connection, I think even you are starting to see that simply allowing things to flow as they may might not be the right choice when it comes to a situation where you very much have the power to create change. And that's that Emperor Aries energy, is the energy of diving headfirst into a new experience, into a new year, into a new life. Having the confidence and the courage. And I think the reason you're here right now, the reason you've been pushed towards this reading, is because you're kind of reaching your wall. You're kind of reaching your wall. And the universe is almost like forcing you towards the end of this connection, even though you might desperately have wanted to hold on in order to not cause any waves. But if it's time to go, it's time to go. There's no point. There's no point holding on, because all it's going to do is fester. Like a fruit that you keep in the hot sun because you don't want to throw it away because it would be a waste. It's just going to rot, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So there is very much victory to be found in independence, in doing your thing by yourself. Okay, next we have death. Yeah, okay, well, there you go. Death, literally. And that's clarified by the Fool. Oh, okay. Again, lots of major arcana. This is a significant change for you, part one. This may have been someone who's been in your life for such a long time. And if you do resonate with it being like a family member, a long-term friendship, that kind of thing, then it makes sense that they would have been in your life for a very long time. But with death and the Fool, death is all about ending a cycle, ending a relationship, ending a situation, ending whatever, because that leads you to the Fool, which is a brand new beginning, infinite possibilities. Not knowing what could come your way, but knowing that wherever you're going is better than where you've come from. The Fool is at the beginning of his journey, and he may be terrified because it's a journey and it's like brand new, but he also knows that the things that he's going to gain from taking this step towards something brand new, the joy, the abundance that he will gain is unparalleled. And look how all of these cards are upright. Isn't that something? It's like you've been living your life in reverse almost. Like you've been going backwards through this connection, due to this connection. And once you are able to successfully cut this person off, you'll find that it's so much easier to go full steam ahead. So Aries energy, Scorpio energy, I believe the Fool is Aquarius energy, but I could be wrong. Or Pisces energy. One of the two. Anyway, and the lesson here is trust the timing. Trust the wave that you came in on. Time is not running out. What's interesting is, I'm sure this is not necessarily the original meaning of this card, but to me, this kind of gives me the vibe of maybe you've been worried that you've already invested so much time and energy into this connection that there might just not be anything else for you out there. Like it's too late to find something new. It's too late to find someone new. It's too late to be on my own now. I'm too old for this. No. This person was here to teach you important lessons, and it may be a variety of lessons. But at the core of it, this person was here to teach you the importance of independence, of not relying on them for validation, of not making your entire life about someone else's happiness. However, in order to learn that, you had to go through this experience with them. If you hadn't, you wouldn't know that. Now that you understand this, it's easy to look back and be like, why did I waste my time? But the fact that you recognize this as wasted time is only because you're able to look in hindsight, right? If that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have learned any of this. So don't ever convince yourself that time is running out, or it's too late for change. It's too late for you to do something new, to do something by yourself, to be alone and independent and single and enjoy life. No. It's all part of the design. It's all part of your story, and that deserves respect and acceptance. So the lesson here is 1, independence, 2, recognizing your worth, recognizing that you deserve better than to be someone's emotional sounding board. 3, embracing change, understanding that just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's good, and just because you don't know how something is going to pan out doesn't mean it's bad. Leaving your comfort zone. And finally, making sure that you don't talk yourself down when it comes to feeling like you wasted time, or, it's too late. No. It's never too late. You've never wasted time. You've used time. Well, we say that, but time is not a commodity that you can use or misuse or waste or whatever. Like, that's a whole other topic. But just trust that you are exactly where you need to be, and that how you move forward from this point on is entirely your decision. So finally, let's take a look at some advice. Beautiful. Oh, Nightingale Spirit. Love is all around. So beautiful. This is card 41. Oh, 4 and 1 comes to adds up to 5, which is the number of change. Massive transformations happening for you, which we love. Okay, I'm going to read this from the book. Nightingale Spirit, love is all around. In the darkness of the night, Nightingale Spirit sings her song of love and hope, a harbinger of dawn, to remind you that the sun will rise again soon. You are so loved, and the illumination song of the Nightingale Spirit calls you to a new level of self-awareness and connection with the light. Yes, there is shadow and darkness, but love and prosperity exist everywhere, even in the seeming emptiness of space, darkness, and a starless night. Feel it and trust in tomorrow's light, renewing your ability to recognize that the spaces that appear empty are filled with love and abundance. Illumination will happen soon. That is so beautiful. So that's your message for today, Pal 1. You got this. I don't know what the situation is. Feel free to enlighten me in the comments below. But whatever it is, you deserve better, and you're about to go get better, and don't let anyone stop you, especially yourself. Okay, so that's your message for today, Pal 1. I truly hope it resonated and brought you some support and clarity. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. You can support my work by checking out my PayPal tip jar. Link is in the video description. If you like a private reading, you can always email me. Email is also in the description. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for being here and spending some time with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pal number 2, hello, welcome. So if you guys picked the Jade Crystal, then this is your reading all about a significant relationship in your life and what its purpose is. So to start, we're going to take a look at these cards here, which will tell us who this person is, what role they play in your life. Then these cards will give us a look at what this relationship is currently going through, what's going on. With these here, we'll take a look at what the lessons are in this connection, why this came into your life, etc. And then finally, with this little card here, we'll take a look at some advice for you in this relationship moving forward. Before we dive in, I just quickly want to say that when I was shuffling your cards, a lot of it came out before the right one just kind of plopped onto my desk. So this could be a connection that you've been looking for a long time. You may have kissed a lot of frogs, so to speak, before you found this person. Apply that to whatever situation this is. But it definitely gave me a very happy energy, a very relieved energy, like, I found you. You know, that kind of bond. So, yeah, we're just gonna dive in. So, who is this person to you? We have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, all right. And that's clarified by the Ace of Wands. Stunning. You'll love to see it. And then we have Alethea. I'm not sure how this is pronounced. So this is card 77. Oh, 77. Sevens might be a significant number in this connection. One or both of you may have life path 7s. You may have met on the 7th, whatever. But in either case, this is a connection, Pal 2, that honestly you feel so blessed and so lucky to have. Like, this is someone who has renewed your passion, who has inspired you, who has brought you almost a creative renewal. Like, you may not even consider yourself a creative person, but this person that we're talking about brings that out in you. And it almost feels like, how did I get so lucky to meet this person? Or you may have met them just randomly through a random stroke of luck. Like, you may have gone somewhere you weren't planning to go that day and then run into this person. Or you may have followed a nudge to do something that brought you in touch with this person. It feels like you have no idea how this came to be, and it had to be divine intervention. Like, there's no other explanation that would make sense to you. Let's read this card. 77. Oh, okay. It's one of the later cards. Okay. Aletheia. Truth. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Aletheia, not sure. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can also recognize it by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. This card requires us to step towards an act of truth. Clarity, revelation, disclosure. So wait, it's supposed to be this way up. So I had it sideways. Sorry about that. This person may inspire you to a point where you are starting to learn things about yourself that you didn't even know. You may discover truths about your life looking back just by talking to this person. Like, this could be someone who inspires you to face your honest self, to face everything about you that is real, to not put on a face anymore, to not put on a front anymore. This feels like such like a simultaneously a breath of fresh air and a sigh of relief. Like, you've been looking for something like this, but you didn't necessarily know you were looking for something like this. And it's like through some sort of divine luck, this has been brought to you. And you're like, whoa, I did not know I could feel like this about myself. It's like this relationship very much feels like a mirror, but not in the, shadow work, dark, twisted way that we normally see mirror energy. Because do you see these roses? Like, there's dark and light on both sides. And it kind of gives me the feeling of a balanced sort of mirroring, where it's not that, someone holds a mirror up to you so that you can see your shadow, but it's more like someone holds a mirror up to you so you can see yourself, the light and the dark, and appreciate yourself for both those aspects, because without both of them, you would be not you. And it feels like this person sees you and recognizes you, and I want to say loves you for everything that you are, not just the shiny, happy bits that you may have projected loud and proud in previous connections, but also the vulnerable, scared, angry, upset, depressed bits that you may keep to yourself. It's like this person sees it because they see it in themselves. And so they recognize it in you. So it's mirroring in that sense. And it's beautiful. Oh, how to, I like this person, but it's not up to me to like them. It's up to you, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so if that resonates, let's take a look at what's going on in this relationship right now. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. And that's clarified by the Four of Wands. See, again, more mirroring energy. It's like if you speak to this person, I promise you, like every other sentence you say to each other is, oh my God, you feel that way too. Oh my God, I know. Oh my God, I know exactly what you mean. It's like that kind of connection where it's like you're speaking my language and I don't know what to do with that in a good way. But the Four of Cups upright usually talks about being offered a blessing by the universe that you're not seeing. So in reverse, it kind of tells me like, you definitely see this as a blessing. You definitely see all the wonderful things in this connection that you are to be grateful for, that you are to be happy about, that you were meant to discover. And to have that clarified by the Four of Wands, which is a card of celebration. Sometimes it's a card of wedding. So I'm just saying you might be thinking about marrying this person someday. But it definitely feels like there's this lively energy. It's like you nurture each other's inner children. And it kind of makes you feel both more like yourself, but also less like the person you've projected yourself to be. It feels like there is such an honesty here that you can't help but leave all your baggage at the door. Interesting. Next, we have the Empress in reverse. And that's clarified by the Chariot in reverse. Okay. Both major arcana. The Empress in reverse clarified by the Chariot in reverse. The Empress upright is usually about abundance, about being self-sufficient, about being abundant in an independent way. And that's clarified. That's in reverse, which kind of gives me the feeling, in most contexts, it would feel like someone who isn't abundant, someone who isn't happy, isn't prosperous. But it's kind of giving me the sense of there's almost a little bit of feeling like, oh, without this person, my life would no longer be abundant. Like this person brings that joy, brings that prosperity into my existence, which is it's a little bit, a tiny bit concerning how to I mean, it's completely natural to feel that way when you first meet someone and you're like, oh my gosh, where have you been? My life was so empty without you, and that kind of thing. Just something to bring a little attention to. And that's clarified by the Chariot, also in reverse. The Chariot upright is about moving fast, moving forward, knowing exactly what you're doing and just doing it, not thinking very much. To have that in reverse kind of tells me that you might be starting to feel things slow down a little. And I don't mean that in a bad way, in that this relationship is not progressing. But you might be at that point in your connection where you are past the honeymoon phase and now things are starting to settle a little bit. And you're starting to recognize just who you are to each other. And who you are is a blessing. It is a mirror, a balance, a counterpart. It's so interesting that there's like a black and white imagery here. There's also black and white imagery in this card. But it feels like, oh, okay, you may both. There's also black and white here. There could be something about black and white. There could be like okay, this is a very specific interpretation, but this could be like a interracial, intercultural connection. I don't know, just putting it out there. The world is getting smaller these days, so it's wonderful. But it's like you both potentially come from a very hyper independent past where you've both felt like you had to do it all by yourself because no one's ever really going to be there for you, or like you were, you're supposed to have it all figured out before you find your person, or even if you have a person, you should never let go of doing everything all by yourself. It almost feels like, okay, the idea of woke culture, but like the shadow aspect of it, in that it kind of makes us feel like we have to do it all by ourselves. We have to be so independent that we cannot rely on anyone, that we cannot trust anyone. And yeah, it's important to be cautious. But a lot of the times, this narrative about independence, about being a boss babe, about having, your own money, your own life, your own hobbies and all of that. Yes, absolutely, you should. However, that doesn't mean you close the door on connection. That doesn't mean you cut out the idea of having people around you that you could rely on. And so in this connection, you might now, once the honeymoon phase is starting to settle, you might now start to push and pull and start to find where you lie in relation to this person. And that's a good thing, because you're starting to find out what your boundaries look like in this connection, what it looks like when you share space versus have your own space, have your own independent cul-de-sac aspects of life. I've literally never said that before, but it almost feels like if you and this person owned a community, the center of it, where the fountains are, that's the space where you meet and you have like the most blissful, wonderful time. And then sometimes when you feel like it's time for some introversion, some introspection rather, you both have your own cul-de-sacs filled with aspects of your life, aspects of their life. And, you might visit each other from time to time, of course, and you meet in the middle all the time. However, you're starting to recognize where each of you comes from, where each of you retreats to when you need some time and space from this connection. And that's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing, because it is progress. It is beyond just the fanciful crush stage of it all. It's like beyond the endorphins and the high of a new connection. You're now starting to build something solid and real. So while you're recognizing that you don't have to do everything all by yourself, you're also recognizing where yourself lies in the context of this relationship. So that's kind of the stage you're at right now, and it's beautiful because it's progress. It's not, the most fun aspects of a relationship, like, getting butterflies in your tummy and all of that. Like, you've been through all of that, and now we're starting to get real about it, get practical about it. That's awesome, pal two. So now let's take a look at what the lesson is through this relationship. I suspect there might be a lot, because it really does feel like this is gearing to become something long-term. But let's see, what lessons is this person here to teach you, okay? We have the Knight of Cups. That's so beautiful. And that's clarified by the Two of Wands. Okay. So going back to like the intercultural thing, this could very well be a long distance relationship. Because with the Two of Wands, this is someone looking out into the world. Like, do you see how he's literally holding up a globe and looking out into the distance? This could be something long distance. However, with the Knight of Cups, which is indicative of a message of love, someone coming forward with a cup of love to give it to someone, it's definitely teaching you that love, the essence of love, transcends physical reality. It transcends distance. It transcends time. It's beyond the restrictions of the 3D world. I think communication might be something this person is teaching you big time, or is demonstrating towards you big time. Because the Knight of Cups tells me usually about someone who is open with their emotions, who is willing to, put the games aside and be vulnerable and be honest, and offer you as much or as little information as you ask for and or need. You might be someone who isn't the best at communicating how you feel, or if you are, you may have been surrounded in the past with people who kind of made you want to shun that side of yourself away, kind of made you feel unsafe in your emotions, unsafe in expressing them. You may come from a history of people who tell you, oh, you shouldn't be, wallowing in self-pity. You shouldn't be feeling your emotions. I don't care how you feel. I'll just stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about, that kind of thinking. And having this person in your life who not only validates you, but also offers you balance and comfort when you need it, it kind of teaches you that with the right people, with people in your life that truly do care about you, you will never have to feel that way. You will never have to feel like your feelings are too much, like you shouldn't be talking about what you need to talk about, like you shouldn't be expressing. I feel like this person is here to teach you that so if in the past you've been in similar situations where, distance has been an issue and it's been used as an excuse in the past to kind of explain away poor communication, you might find that in this connection, you kind of almost feel angry for your past self, where it's like, this is how much effort someone is willing to put in to make sure that I have all the information and the communication that I need. Why was the distance an issue in the past? Or if the idea of a long distance connection is very new to you, you might find that through this connection, a lot of your fears around this are dissipating. Now, that's obviously very specific. The other interpretation is about looking into the future, right? Not just across the world, but into the future with someone else. And it might be that you may have fears surrounding making long-term plans or allowing yourself to dream about something long-term and, committed. And then this person, with all the love that they have to offer you, kind of brings to you a lot of reassurance, brings to you a lot of, hey, I'm on the same page. I see the future too, and I want that too, and I am committed to making that happen as well. Like, really, at the core of it is a sense of security through communication. That's what this is all about. That's what this connection is here to show you, is that your insecurities in the past weren't just you being crazy or too much or asking for too much. They were based on very real issues in your connections. And when you have someone in your life that is willing to take the time and make the effort, suddenly you realize those weren't insecurities at all. They were very real and very valid concerns about relationships. You weren't asking for too much. You were just you were asking the wrong people, right? Next, we have judgment in reverse, clarified by the Knight of Pentacles, also in reverse. Okay, I think this really echoes that sentiment as well. So judgment upright is usually, it's based off the idea of a rapture, of judgment day, of, people's sins and charities being weighed up, like being measured up to see if you go to heaven or hell, that kind of thing. In a more esoteric sense, it's seen as you being called to your purpose, you hearing the voice of God or an angel or the universe, whatever you believe in, you hearing the call that brings you to who you are meant to be. In reverse here, this is kind of telling me that in this connection, you recognize that you may in the past have used the idea of divine timing or divine intervention as a protective measure, something to soothe yourself with. Oh, the reason this other connection didn't work out is because rejection is protection. And that's very true. However, through this connection, you're starting to recognize that you don't need to beg the universe to make choices for you. You are very empowered. This connection makes you feel empowered to say yes or no, to say what you want, to say what you mean. You don't feel like you need an external force to come in and create change. You are very happy doing it yourself because you feel safe enough to. Like, say in the past, you may have been uncomfortable with certain aspects of a connection. Instead of saying something, you would probably just, keep it buried within, say nothing, and just hope the connection will either change on its own or die out on its own so you don't ever have to face that again. But now you're recognizing that that's not something that is a toxic trait about you. It is simply something you did because you felt the need to protect yourself from something, to protect yourself from conflict or from, losing someone. And now with this connection and with the kind of confidence it gives you, you will start to feel safe enough to ask for what you want, to say no when you want to bring up things that you are uncomfortable with. And to have that clarified with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Pentacles is someone who can be overly cautious. It's someone who will move extremely slowly to the point where, again, someone else just makes the change for him. Like, this is someone who will not take a step unless they know for sure that the outcome is going to be exactly as they want it to be. So to have that in reverse, clarifying the judgment in reverse, it kind of gives me the vibe that through this connection, you are learning that your ability to say yes or no, your ability to affect the outcome of a connection is not only valid and sacred, it is also important. It is necessary for this connection to be balanced. It is necessary for you to take charge of your end of the deal. And you are just as worthy of steering the connection in a certain way as your partner is. This feels like a deep, powerful, extremely important connection, pal two. Like, this is someone who will teach you what love is in a grown-up, mature way. Not in like a childish, like, oh, I'm going to leave them on red, I'm not going to text them very quickly kind of way, so I don't look desperate. Like, none of that. This person is here. This person is here. That's it. And we have the Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Yeah, I feel like if you're worried about whether this person sees your connection reaching the same potential as you do, don't worry. This person very much sees it. Very much sees it. They might have a lot of like fire and water signs, because there's a lot of fire and water signs, some earth as well. But there's a lot of like water energy. They might be very Cancerian, and this is a Cancer card as well, very emotional, very homely. They might very quickly become a safe space for you, which we love to see. Part two, absolutely love to see. But also, with this bringing in consciousness to light, I feel like through the course of this relationship, you will start to recognize patterns within yourself that you didn't even know you were doing, in order to try and salvage connections that you knew were not good enough for you, that you knew had to be let go of. Like, you might find that you were playing all these games with yourself. And through this connection, you start to recognize that I didn't need to do all of that. I could have just communicated, and then if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. I mean, it didn't work out anyway. So all I've done is wasted time with people that didn't deserve my time. Because when someone does deserve my time, this is how they act. They show up. They hold up their end of the deal. I don't have to do all the work for them. This is a very empowering connection for you, pal two. And honestly, I absolutely see it going all the way, if not just very long term. Okay, so finally, let's look at some advice. We have butterfly spirit, transformation is beautiful. It is in reverse. It's number 11 though, which is usually another sign of mirroring. Like, you and this person, you might feel sometimes like you're the same person in different fonts. But let's take a look at the butterfly spirit, what the book has to say, because I'm curious as to why this is in reverse. Okay. Transformation does not have to be as traumatic or dramatic as things may seem to be right now. Remember, change is the only true constant. When you resist it, you create a tension within you as you refuse to accept the inevitable. In this moment, you might have forgotten the beauty and joy of life as it moves through its seasons, as nature dictates. You are being faced with a choice now. You can struggle with the current conditions, refusing to surrender and see through the lens of lack and loss, or you can surrender to the grace that is calling you to allow life to take its course, moving through the sadness and disappointment. Surrender will soften you, inviting you to bask in gratitude and see through the lens of curiosity. These are keys to running into the infinite potential available to you now. Butterfly spirit knows the beauty and delight you are on the brink of discovering. Let go and trust that it is there for you. Interesting. I feel like that's not necessarily to do with this connection, but you might be looking back, like I said, like there's a lot, as I was reading these cards for you, there was a lot of almost anger for your past self. And I feel like that's really come out a lot. And that might be something this person brings out in you, not because they want you to be upset, but more in the sense of, how can someone be so good to me? And if I was worth all of this whole time, how could someone have not been so good to me in the past? How could people have treated me poorly, knowing that this is what I am capable of achieving with the right person? That's so interesting. But the other thing, I really love that idea of change does not always have to be dramatic or traumatic. Like, you might find through this connection that it transforms you so gently, so beautifully. The way water would shape a rock, would smooth out its harsh edges. This feels like a gentle, loving, kind connection, Paltu. It feels like someone who will really spend the time making sure that you find happiness within yourself, you find contentment. This is such a deep, beautiful love, Paltu. Oh my goodness. I am so happy for you, honestly, because this is something that doesn't happen all the time. And I'm very, very happy that you found it. So that's your reading for today, Paltu. Let me know in the comments how this resonates, because it really does seem like you found a gem. You found a diamond. And I always want to hear those stories. But yeah, that's your reading. Thank you so, so much for being here and spending some time with me and letting me do this reading for you. It's made me so happy, and I hope it's offered you some clarity as well. If you like what I do, would like to support my work, there's a link to my PayPal tip jar in the video description, or you can email me for a private reading as well. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Pile number 3, hello. So if you guys chose the blue sodalite crystal, this is your reading all about a significant connection in your life. So I've gone ahead and shuffled your cards out. These cards here are going to tell us who this person is, what role they play in your life. With these cards here, we'll take a look at what's going on in this relationship right now. Here, we'll take a look at the lessons that this connection is here to teach you. And then finally, we'll take a look with this card at any advice from spirit, from your spirit guides, the universe, whatever. Any advice about this connection. And holy guacamole, I feel like I am so quick with your messages. Like, even just talking now, this bit went by so quickly. And when I was flipping your cards out, when I was shuffling your cards out, they were coming out. I feel like you're my pile today that already knows all of this and is mostly just here to make sure that you've got the nuances right, that you've got the messages correct, to confirm what you already know. Literally, I was shuffling the cards, and at one point a card literally did like a 360 and went right back into the deck the way it was. And I feel like you know exactly what I'm about to tell you. So a lot of this is just going to be me confirming what you already know. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's dive in. Who is this person? So to start, we have the 9 of coins, and that's clarified by the 4 of cups. And for the archetype, we have the vow. This is someone that you didn't recognize their worth until recently, or you didn't recognize just how important they are in your life until recently. You may have been a very lone wolf sort of person. You may have been the kind that does everything by yourself, doesn't need no one. You don't need no man, you don't need no woman, you don't need no other. You are who you are, and that's all that matters. This person was brought in by some sort of divine intervention into your life. And, you know, while you may have entered some form of commitment with them, it's like it's something that you kind of went along with and you didn't necessarily realize just what they are, just how powerful they are, just how important and capable they are until recently. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. It's not necessarily in the cards, but that's kind of what I'm getting. Because the Nine of Coins, ooh, there's a little bug. Okay, the Nine of Coins is someone who is finally enjoying the fruit of their labor, but it's their own labor. Whereas the Four of Cups is someone who is being offered help, offered love by the universe, by the divine, but they are not recognizing it because they are so busy caught up in these three cups that are in front of them. And they're like dissatisfied with any of these options, but then the universe is like, here you go. And this person is just so caught up in it, they're just not even recognizing it. So this connection, this is someone who has been brought into your life, but you didn't recognize their value. You may have entered a relationship with them or a situationship with them, and now you're starting to realize just how important they are to you. With this Pentacles card, it could be work related, like someone you joined forces with. You're now seeing just how important they can be to your job, to your productivity, all of that. Or it could be love, or like a emotional connection of some sort where you're like, okay, I guess I'll go out with you a couple of times, or I guess we can hang out, and then something has changed, and now you're like, oh, okay, streamlined, got your blinders on, this is the person, this is like someone I want to invest in. But let's read the vow. This is card 54, so this could be someone you met when you were 54, or someone who is 54, I don't know. The promise, the oath, the contract. When the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, and destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. There is a reason the great mythic stories of our past often include the recitation of oaths and the mixing of drops of blood as a mark of union. The tricky part is that reciting the vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. The ancestors bear witness. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be unsaid or forgotten, so breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises, bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. Yeah, it feels like this is someone who kind of just came in, and you may have taken your connection to them very lightly. And now it's like, oh, I severely underestimated what this person is going to become to me, how this person is going to impact my life. And so now you're starting to recognize that importance, the significance of them in your life. Now you're starting to think about making this real. I want to say that this is like more, this could be career related, but what I am getting is very much like a love theme, like a relationshipy theme. But take it as it resonates. Let's go into what's going on in this relationship though, because it seems like things are shifting and changing. So to start, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Okay. Okay. And the Ace of Swords. Okay, part 3, there may have been like a bit of a communication break in this connection, where it's like, for some reason, maybe like through no fault of anyone involved, for some reason, there was a breakdown of communication that happened suddenly. And you may have noticed this person is either like consciously pulling back or is being pulled away from you. And that brings a whole new sort of lightning moment to you where you're like, oh, whoa, I need this in my life. I want this in my life. This is not someone that I'm okay with just losing. Because with the Knight of Swords in reverse, this is like someone who has backpedaled or who has been forced to backpedal, because the Knight of Swords won't turn around unless he has to. This is the most headstrong, most erratic of all of the knights. Like, this is someone who, the second they've made up their mind, they're on their way. And so the Knight of Swords won't turn around unless they want to. And it could be that this person offered you something real and then you said no, so then this person turned around and now you're like, whoa, I underestimated how much it would upset me that they leave. Or it could be that due to some unforeseen circumstance, there's been a break in the communication between you. And you're like, whoa, I didn't realize how much I needed and expected communication from this person until it was not an option anymore. And so while the Ace of Swords generally signifies a new communication, a new conversation, in this context, it's kind of giving me like a flash of insight. Like, you're immediately like, whoa, I understand now. I understand the significance of this person. I understand what they are to me, why they are here, what they mean to me. Next, we have the Devil. Okay. Don't panic, it's a good thing. And that's clarified by the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. The Devil talks about contracts. Generally karmic contracts. So this very much could be a karmic relationship. That's not always a bad thing though. So when we look at relationships, whether they be platonic, familial, romantic, whatever, there is always an aspect of, karmic cycles to it. We come to this planet with certain cycles that we are meant to either disrupt or propagate. And more often than not, we have to do it with other people, with other souls. And so with the Devil card here, it could very much talk about that kind of like a karmic tie with this person. It could also talk about maybe addictions, maybe something like that is getting in the way. Or you recognizing your dependence on this person's presence in your life. But at its best, it's very much talking about you starting to recognize that there's more than just a superficial aspect to this connection. And to have that clarified by the Eight of Pentacles, this is the interesting bit, is because this card is about hard work. There's a reason why this comes before the Nine of Pentacles. This is where you put the work in order to enjoy the rewards of that Nine of Pentacles. And what I'm feeling from this spread so far is that now that you are recognizing that there is more to this than you previously thought, you're starting to realize that you can't just skate by in this relationship. You have to put the work in. And the fact that you've had to step from the Nine of Pentacles to the Eight of Pentacles is you recognizing that maybe this is not what I want. Maybe this path of solitude is not what I was meant for, is not what I want anymore. Even if I was meant for it, it's not what I want anymore. I need to go back to the drawing board and rework how I share or spend my energy. And so in your connection right now, you might be at a point where you're starting to recognize the significance of this person in whatever context, whatever they mean to you. You're starting to recognize that you want a commitment of sort. You want to make promises to this person. You want this to be more than superficial. And that is going to take work. It's not just something that you can do with your eyes closed. Like, you're going to actually have to create space in your life for them. You're going to have to work on better communication, work on, communicating how you feel, what you need from this, what you expect, and listening to what they expect and making it happen. This very much gives me the vibe of, you might be someone who's been playing the field a little bit and you've kind of just been juggling a bunch of people, and you didn't expect this person to become so significant. Like, you just expected them to be one of the bunch. And when they were taken away, even for like a brief moment, you had a moment of, oh, hang on, I didn't recognize you, but I do now. And so now it's time to put the work in, because there's a lot of like earth energy. This is Capricorn energy. And it's all about solidifying things now, about making them real, about drawing up a paradigm that kind of makes this less of like a wishy-washy connection and more of something solid. I do apologize if my voice is going a little sore, you guys, because this is the final pile I'm recording. I've been talking for about an hour and a half now. So anyway, hopefully that resonates. And if it does, let's take a look at what this person is here to teach you. What's the lesson in this connection? So to start, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. And that's clarified by the Five of Cups. Okay, I think, part 3, are you used to, little conflicts causing you to just leave connections, just clean break, no longer interested? If the slightest thing goes wrong, you might be like, is it worth the effort to fix this? And now, with this connection, you're starting to feel like, actually, I want to put the work in. I want to learn how to fix something like this that maybe doesn't go as planned. I want to figure out how to keep this person around, how to, if an apology needs to be given, how to give it, and how to accept an apology if you're owed one, and how to forgive and move on, instead of just, throwing the whole connection away because one thing went wrong. I think this connection is teaching you patience, and it's teaching you to be grateful for what you do have. With the Nine of Swords in reverse, the Nine of Swords upright is about anxiety, but more importantly, it's about anxieties that come from just your mind kind of taking a situation and running away with it. And so to have that in reverse, and there's another bug. There's lots of bugs with you guys. Is there something that's like bugging you? Because there aren't so many in my readings. Anyway, I have a lot of lights on. It's completely normal. With the Nine of Swords in reverse being clarified by the Five of Cups, like the Five of Cups is someone who had 5 cups, 3 of the cups fell over. They are not recognizing there are still 2 cups upright. They're not recognizing that this is something that they still have, that they can be grateful for. So I think this connection is very much teaching you the power of persistence, of showing up, of doing the work, doing the legwork. and of how maybe in the past your tendency to just kind of end connections at the slightest inconvenience was a fear response. It wasn't necessarily like oh, I just don't take any nonsense from people, like I'm a strong independent person. That may have been the name you gave it, that may have been the mask you gave it, but deep down it may have come from a place of, well, this is an opportunity for me to leave this person before they leave me, or this is an opportunity for me to avoid conflict at all costs because that's scary. And I think that might be why this feels so new and it feels so different to you, is because for once you want to stay, you want to make change, you want to communicate, you want to talk about how to fix this, how this gap of communication triggered like an evolution in you. Next, we have the Emperor, and that's clarified by the world. Some fire energy here. This is Aries. I think this is Sagittarius. But in either case, the Emperor and the World. The Emperor is about independence. It's about Aries energy, you know, the trailblazer kind of energy. It is also about just doing the thing, just doing it, you know, doing something that you've been thinking of doing, but you've been afraid to, or you haven't been motivated to. This connection is teaching you to just do it. It's very, what's his name? The guy. Do it. Just do it. Like that guy. I forget his name. But it's kind of giving that vibe. It's, you're learning to not just allow opportunities to slip by. You're learning your importance in the path that your life takes. Wow, I just had a blank moment. Okay. To clarify that, we have the World, which is about completion. It's about fulfillment. And I think you're starting to recognize that what you considered fulfillment in the past is not who you are anymore. So in the past, you may have told yourself, oh, I'm happy just not having anything serious. I'm happy with just doing my thing and enjoying everything that, you know, the world has to offer in terms of the dating pool or whatever. And I think now you're stepping into an energy of, but I kind of want something stable though. I kind of want something steady though. I want something committed though. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with this person, because even if this connection does end, or it just doesn't pick up at all, or, you know, it never becomes anything, I feel like it is here to teach you that maybe a lot of, like, you may have convinced yourself that you didn't want something like this or someone like this purely out of anxiety, out of fear. Now, am I saying that you have to be in a relationship? Of course not. That's entirely your call. But the joy of it, the beauty of it, is that you recognize that you have a choice, that you get to decide. It's not something that you have to give up on in order to make yourself feel better about not having a person yet. You recognize that if you don't have a partner, if you don't have a relationship, it's because you want it that way. And I think a lot of this relationship is very much teaching you accountability. because a lot of these cards, like pretty much all but this one, it involves like individual characters. Like the main character is alone. Even here, like, yes, there's like a family here, but the main character is the Oracle. She's alone. And I think this connection will teach you the difference between being independent and being hyper independent. And that's a distinction that you very much need. And you will start to recognize it as time goes on. Where you are taking charge versus where you are being controlling. And a lot of the credit for that definitely goes to whoever this person is. I almost feel like this person and you might not be in communication right now, and you might be trying to get back in touch with them, or you might be considering reaching out to them again. I mean, do it if you want to. If you understand that it will take work, it may be a situation where they kind of asked you out and you said no, and then they were like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to move on because I can't just be whatever this is. And then now you're looking back and you're like, oh, I kind of want you back. But then it's a thing of like, do I reach out? Because then it's going to be awkward. Hey, if you want this person, you got to put the work in. And if you're willing to put the work in, go for it. But if you're not looking to get back with this person or get back in touch with this person, that's fine. The reason that they were here is to show you that you have a choice. That if you don't talk to them again, it's because you choose that. And that's a good thing, because it's conscious. It's consciously chosen. It's not something that was done for you. Like, it's not the universe intervened for you. So if you're here to ask about whether this person will reach out to you, no. You reach out to them if you want to. This connection is all about you doing the work, you stepping into your power and recognizing that you have it in you to change the situation based on what you want. No more just skating by. No more just allowing life to push and pull you around. This is your time to take the reins, but without micromanaging. The void. Stop. Embrace winter. Great cosmic womb. Yeah, I think a lot of why you've been in this energy of, I don't know what I want yet, or I'm just going to play the field or whatever. It may have been your soul's winter. It may have been that time in your journey where you're in the void stage. You're not like, you're not fully baked yet. You're kind of like still a little bit of pastry dough going on. And this time was necessary for you to take a moment to take stock of what you want, to recognize what you want and what you've told yourself you've wanted. And, if there's a distinction between the two, it's about recognizing your true desires. So I think this connection, whatever it was or is or continues to be, at the bare minimum, it served as a wake-up call for you to look at how you perceive connections, perceive relationships, and whether that aligns with who you want to be. So finally, let's take a look at some advice for you. We have the Wolf Spirit in reverse, turn knowledge into wisdom. This is card 67. Oh, okay. By the way, does anyone know what the 6-7 thing is that the kids are doing? I don't understand it, but I don't know. Anyway, it's card 67. Comment below if you know what on earth that is, because I have no idea what's going on. Okay, wolf spirit. What is unknown is still yet to be discovered. When wolf spirit appears, you're being told not to pretend you know something when you don't. You won't impress anyone with a little bit of knowledge. In fact, you rob yourself of a true experience and education if you tell yourself you are done learning or you don't have to know something. Be open, be humble, be teachable, and the world will open itself up for you like magic. Now is the time to look into the world with reverence and awe and an insatiable curiosity. You will never grow old if you are willing to keep learning. Wolf Spirit is waiting to be your mystical, loving guide. I think you've very much been in a fixed energy of like, you may have chosen a life path at a very young age, and you may have stuck to it doggedly and not allowed yourself to veer from it. Like, you may, maybe in like your early 20s, been like, oh, this is who I am. I don't do relationships. I don't do commitment. I'm not interested. And at the time, that was perfect. That was who you were. And then as time has gone by, you've grown and evolved and changed. But because you told yourself back then that you were committed to that kind of a life, you haven't allowed yourself to veer from it, even though you may really, really, really want a connection like that. And you haven't allowed yourself to open up to new possibilities. So, yeah, allow this time to teach you, okay? So that's your message for today, pile 3. My phone's running out of space, so I'm gonna end it now. I hope it resonated and that it brought you some support and clarity. Comment below and let me know if it did. If you enjoyed this video and it resonated, remember to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support my work, you can do so with a donation at my PayPal tip jar, or send me an email if you'd like a private reading. But that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for being here and sharing your time and space with me. I truly hope you've enjoyed it and that it's helped. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.